after what you saw last night, do you still believe Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers will win the AFC North?
I do.
Oh, my gosh.
See, that's y'all problem. Y'all see one game, and y'all just want to flip everything.
I've seen a couple games. I saw one game that they showed up on defense.
Yeah.
That's what I saw.
Right, it's true.
Yeah.
So you ain't seen none of the 5 wins.
They showed up on defense versus the Patriots.
They got 5 wins. They act like they don't have 5 wins. They was 5-3 before the game yesterday. That means in 5 games, they did enough to win the game. You know what I'm saying? In 5 games, in 8 games, they averaged 25 points. Like last night was the first game they had 3. You know what I'm saying? Before that, they averaged 25. So Harbaugh always play A-Rod like that. He never beat him. He just don't beat Harbaugh. You always had that guy who just got your fucking number. You know what I'm saying? It's always somebody out there. You probably had a D tackle. You probably had an O lineman. I probably had a wide out who just like, fuck, I ain't scared to play him or nothing, but he just got my number. You know what I'm saying? And that's Harbaugh with A-Rod. He don't beat him. And that offense played bad. It wasn't just A-Rod. Guys drop balls. If that ball high, Jonnu Smith, you a damn professional tight end. You got to catch that ball. It's 3rd down, bro. You jumping early, you look like one of my 8U players. Like, seriously, bro. Like, find a way to catch that ball. You a pro. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just A-Rod. It was drop balls out there. You know what I'm saying? It was missed blocks out there. And the defense, they an opportunistic defense. They didn't capitalize on their turnovers. They had a chance to get turnovers and let A-Rod and them start on the 40, start on the 30. They dropped interceptions, a lot of them last night. So,
What, like 6 or 8?
2 or 3. That's a lot. You know what I'm saying? Hey,
Okay.
when you're on that defensive side of the ball, if we got a chance to get 3 turnovers and we get 0, then we missed out on all our opportunities. So they got to score in the red zone, which they didn't do. They got to get turnovers, which they didn't do.
Right.
That's their MO. We score when we get in the red zone. We get our turnovers. That's how they going to win games. So I don't think one loss versus a good Chargers team, I don't think that just flipped the whole season for you. They got a tough remaining schedule. The Ravens got a tough remaining schedule. And the biggest part about it is they play each other twice.
They do.
And I think this thing going to come all the way down to week 17 game, Pittsburgh versus the Ravens, and it's in Pittsburgh. So they at least they at home for the showdown. So I think that last game of the season is going to determine who represents the North, and Pittsburgh will be at the house for that.
Yeah, I'm not basing what I'm saying off last night because everybody has those games. All right, you just had those games, a bad day at the office. But you got Lil Leeb over here who's a champion. I was great in the community. You know, never was a champion, but you can you can answer this if I'm right or wrong. You got to be playing your best football in November and December, going to playoffs in order to win.
Yes.
You
got to be playing your best football in December and January. November, it kind of gets started.
But the teams in November, you get it started. This is why I'm saying I'm going with the Ravens, not because of last night, but because of where things are trending. If you look at the Ravens' last 4 games, defensively, which was their Achilles heel, they've been giving up 14 points a game.
Yep.
They're trending upward. They got Lamar back. They're scoring 25 points a game. Pittsburgh, the last 4 games, defense giving up 28 points and scoring 23 points a game. You look at Ravens, they got to face 2 top 10 offenses and 2 teams currently in the playoffs. Pittsburgh got to face 3 top 10 offenses and 3 teams currently in the playoffs. So the schedule favors Baltimore. They do got to play each other twice. However, how they're playing currently and how things are trending, Lamar's back, the defense is playing better. I just feel like Baltimore's going to edge this thing out. Just how they playing right now. Like, it's just because of where things are trending.
Yeah. I'm not out on the Steelers just off that performance last night. I'm definitely concerned about the offense. I think Rodgers has kind of lost his touch. This is what we saw with the Jets, and now this is what we're seeing with the Steelers. He still throws a nice ball. He could still rip it, but put a little air on that one to DK. Put a little more air on that one to Jonnu, right? And keep the chains moving. Those could potentially be touchdowns. To me, it just looks off. They have Jaylen Warren and Gainwell. What they're missing is a big thumper. They're missing like a Najee Harris type. Like, they want to be physical. They want to run downhill. So when the offense is off, that's when the defense has to come in. That's when the defense has to get a bunch of turnovers, like against the Colts, and give them good field position and let the offense just kind of grind it out. They're not gonna be in shootouts where they score a bunch of points, but you got to be able to keep it close. And I agree with you. I don't think the Steelers right now are as good as the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore Ravens, I said they were on life support earlier in the season because they had all their guys and they looked terrible. But the way that defense is playing now, and Lamar's back, Lamar's just getting better, and I think that there's 2 games left. Baltimore's sitting 1-0 in the division. Steelers are sitting 1-1. So it's all going to come down to those 2 games against each other, and then that's gonna really figure out who wins the NFC North. And right now, if I'm a betting man, I'm betting on the Baltimore Ravens.
So, Kenzie, I am so tempted.
Oh, I love to hear it.
So tempted
I already know what you're going to say.
to go Joe Burrow because I believe Joe Burrow sat and watched that disaster last night for the Steelers and said, you know what? I'm going to go practice tomorrow. And that means with them on a bye, they're coming off a bye, that just maybe, what's their next game? They're at the Steelers.
They got a pretty tough next 4 or 5
Okay,
games.
they got tough 4 or 5. My problem is Joe Burrow obviously can't play safety, so I can't.
I was going to say, can he play linebacker?
Yeah.
Because
Or-
Flacco's slinging it.
But if Trey Hendrickson comes back, and I don't understand his injury status, but if he can come
It's
back
week to week.
against the Steelers, again, Akib and I picked them to win the AFC. So would I hang in there and fight with them? The good thing is their last 3 games, unfortunately they have to play 5 before then, but their last 3 are at Miami, then Arizona at home, and Cleveland at home. They could win their last 3 if they desperately needed 3 to tie and get in or whatever would happen.
Right.
But these next ones, at Steelers, Patriots, at Ravens on Thanksgiving night, at Bills, and then Baltimore again at home. God, I don't know, man, with that defense is statistically way worse than Dallas's defense. It's the worst by far in every single category.
Well, I wish
So
if
it's
the
hard.
Bengals knew that Joe Burrow was going to come back, they would have made some moves at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
But they didn't do that, so I don't see him going anywhere.
Okay, now, I've been saying for 3 weeks, here come the Ravens, to both of your points.
You have been calling it.
All I know for sure about the North is the Steelers ain't going to win it. All I know for sure is, and I'm going to dig in on this once again, Aaron Rodgers is washed up. LeBron likes to call it washed. I'll keep
agree.
the up on it. Washed up. That guy I saw last night was shell of self. That guy completed 9% of his passes. That's his worst completion percentage in a game in 5 years. He was 0 for 5 on passes beyond 15 yards. They went 9 straight third downs without a conversion and wound up 2 of 11 on third down and 0 for 1 on fourth down, as you know, which was a ridiculous throw into double coverage into the end zone that had no chance whatsoever. He is over the hill, washed up to the point that he's lost his courage in the pocket. You can't win in this league, as Kurt Warner would be the first to tell you. You want to talk about courage in the pocket? That guy had all-time guts in the pocket because he would take shots in the mouth to deliver a football to an open receiver if so required. Because for a while, Kurt Warner was taking shots where I'd wince watching it. But Aaron will duck and cover at the slightest bit of pressure, wherever it is, on the safety. He's just like, oh, my God, and he drops the ball like, ooh. And there were 3 throws last night where he is doing fall-away throws, where he's just wheeling and ducking because he's 41, he's on borrowed time and he knows it, and he just doesn't have the stomach for taking the hits that you have to take at that position to win football games from the pocket. Obviously, he can't move the way he used to move when he used to be able to hurt you with his legs in his heyday. He can still fling it and rip it. To your point, I give you that. But man, you're looking for hide your eyes on a lot of wild high throws because they're going to go wild high because he's duck and cover in the pocket. So unless the Steelers force 6 turnovers, that's the recipe. You need.
Steelers Nation, listen closely, because today we are diving into one of the most frustrating, confusing, and revealing nights in recent Pittsburgh Steelers memory. A night that exposed problems, but also clarified something deeper. This team still has the fire to claw back, to respond, to rebuild its identity and to remind everyone in the AFC that the Steelers are never out of the fight. But before we get to why this story ends with hope, we need to confront what we saw against the Los Angeles Chargers, because that performance shook the entire organization, the fan base, and even the players themselves. The Steelers' 25-10 loss in primetime wasn't just a defeat. It was a wake-up call delivered right in front of the entire league. This wasn't the performance of a team who wants to be in the playoff race. This wasn't the version of the Steelers' offense that fought through adversity earlier in the season. And certainly, it wasn't the version of Aaron Rodgers that Pittsburgh signed to elevate this offense and bring stability, accuracy, and veteran composure. But let's be real. What happened on that field wasn't just Rodgers missing throws. It wasn't just receivers struggling to create separation. And it wasn't just the game plan failing to match the physical tone that the Chargers brought. Now, the deeper issue was staring us right in the face. An offensive line that simply collapsed under pressure, mentally and physically. Isaac Seumalo being out with a pectoral injury was the first domino falling, and Spencer Anderson stepping in was an admirable move. But he gave up 4 pressures, struggled in run sets, and looked overwhelmed by the Chargers' disguised blitzes. Troy Fautianu, the promising second-year tackle who has shown flashes of becoming a foundational piece, played what many experts called the worst game of his young career. That combination created a perfect storm for disaster, and the Chargers knew it. They attacked relentlessly, sending 4, then 5, then 6 defenders, never giving Rodgers a chance to settle or find his rhythm. And that's where Mark Kaboli's analysis hits the truth of the situation. When the Steelers lined up on that crucial 4th down near the end zone, the look said it all. Rodgers immediately fired a back shoulder fade to DK Metcalf, a throw he normally nails, a throw he usually reads post-snap before delivering. But this time, he didn't even bother reading the coverage. Why? Because he didn't trust he would have the time. He didn't trust the pocket. He didn't trust that he could look beyond his first read before a defender came crashing through the line. That is not a Rodgers problem. That is an offensive line confidence problem. And confidence is everything in this league. Without confidence, even the most talented quarterbacks fall apart. Without confidence, receivers rush their routes, timing vanishes, and the entire offense sputters like a car running on fumes. That's exactly what we saw Sunday night. But let's get something clear. While this young offensive line struggled, it is far from a lost cause. The Steelers drafted youth deliberately. They wanted raw power, raw upside, raw aggression. This group wasn't supposed to peak in Week 10. They were built for December football, January football, and the years ahead. They were always going to have growing pains, and this was one of them. But the idea that they can't bounce back, that's not just false. It's disrespectful to the talent they have. Look at the tape this season. Fautianu has been one of the most promising young tackles in the league, winning more than 80% of his pass block reps in several games. Anderson has flashed versatility. Seumalo remains the anchor. And James Daniels, still one of the smartest interior linemen in football, has shown the ability to control the line when surrounded by stability. This wasn't a talent issue. This was a chemistry issue, an execution issue, and yes, an injury issue. And let's also talk about Rodgers. Was this his worst game in Pittsburgh? Yes. Did he look uncomfortable? Absolutely. Did he miss throws he normally makes? No doubt. But quarterbacks don't perform in a vacuum, and anyone trying to pin this loss solely on Rodgers is ignoring the reality of the situation. He is 41. Yes. He is not the escape artist he once was. True. But he has shown earlier this season, against Baltimore, against Minnesota, against Tennessee, that when protected, he still delivers tight window lasers, elite timing throws, and veteran command that elevates the entire offense. What you saw on Sunday night was a quarterback who didn't trust the foundation in front of him. And trust doesn't magically appear. It must be rebuilt. And that rebuild starts now. The good news? There is no better opponent to reset your offensive rhythm than the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals enter Week 11 ranked dead last in the NFL in both points allowed and yards allowed. Their secondary has been torched repeatedly. Their linebackers over-pursue. Their defensive line is talented but inconsistent. Their scheming has been exploited by even average offenses this season. This is exactly the type of matchup a struggling offense needs to breathe again, to find timing again, to regain swagger again. Remember, the Steelers already torched Cincinnati once this season. That game wasn't a fluke, it was a blueprint. The Steelers used motion, misdirection, delayed crossers, and quick rhythm passes to destabilize the Cincinnati defense. They forced them to play horizontally, not vertically. They made them guess, hesitate, and adjust. With Rodgers having a full week of practice after a tough loss, with Seumalo potentially returning soon, and with the coaching staff dialing up concepts specifically designed to attack a Bengals unit that can't stop anything right now, the opportunity is massive. And let's add something important. Despite the struggles, this Steelers defense kept the team alive longer than they should have. They held key Chargers drives, forced pressure late, and created opportunities the offense failed to capitalize on. This Steelers defense is the backbone of the team. And even though the offense stumbled, this defense has shown it can carry momentum into games where the offense finds itself again. But here's the real message, the one Steelers fans need to hear loud and clear. The season is not slipping away. This team is not broken. This roster is not lost. What happened Sunday night was a setback, not a collapse. The Steelers had been here before, countless times. Seasons shift in the NFL fast. Momentum flips faster, and teams that recover from embarrassing losses often become the most dangerous by December. That's Steelers football. That's Steelers identity. That's Steelers culture. Rodgers knows it. Tomlin knows it. The leaders in that locker room know it. They will respond. And Week 11 is their chance to send a message. A message to the AFC, a message to Cincinnati, a message to the league, a message to themselves. The Pittsburgh Steelers are far from done. They're only getting started. If you believe this team is going to bounce back, if you believe this offense is going to find its rhythm again, if you believe this defense can carry the load while the offense recalibrates, then Steelers Nation, let your voice be heard. Tell me in the comments what you think needs to change. Tell me if you believe in this team. Tell me your prediction for Week 11. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Steelers Nation Wire so we can keep bringing you the most passionate, emotional, and honest coverage of the Pittsburgh Steelers all season long. Steelers Nation forever.